Ladies, gentlemen, Roadhogs and Octanes, thank you for joining us tonight. We are pleased to finally debut our weekly show that we are going to provide to all of you QRLS fans here. The QRLS Weekend Review. This week in particular, we'll be reviewing Week 1 as we just came off of a super hot opening weekend here to Season 4 of the QRLS. Joining me tonight is my broadcast partner, Captain of Clarity United, the Jet. And Jet, there was a lot of spicy things that happened here this past week.
First off, thanks for having me on tonight, Little Bucket. And Week 1 was a thriller for sure. Season 4, it's a great way to kick off the season. And we had a lot of good matchups this week.
No question about it. And kicking things off for our week in review, we had the three Rocketeers taking on the Gold Diggers. And honestly, this was the only sweep of the weekend, Jet. And the Gold Diggers really showed out here against the practically brand new three Rocketeers led by Slurpy Snail.
The three Rocketeers had some major changes over the offseason, and with just put this team together with, a week or two to go before the season started. So some little first week jitters, I think, for them, but nothing they can't pull themselves out of. This team actually looked good in this match, even though they got swept.
Yeah, and on that side of the field, I want to point out Ozzy in his league re-debut, if you will, had a total of 9 saves on the night for the match, so very good defensive showing by him. And then the rookie Joe 2361 also had a very good showing, scoring a goal and an assist and 3 saves as well. What did you think the biggest difference maker was there? Was it simply just unfamiliarity in terms of the three Rocketeers? Like you mentioned, they were thrown together pretty quick.
It could be a little of that. Also, I mean, this is Joe's first matchup ever, I do believe. And, I think more than just not knowing each other, they spent a lot of time on defense in this series, and that shows. They were forced to make a lot of saves, and they couldn't get the ball back down the field and go in the other direction, and that really hurt them.
In terms of Will Six's performance, absolute sniper on the night, also had those 7 saves. A lot of people think he was snubbed in terms of Player of the Week this week. Do you think that we're going to see another MVP campaign for Will Six? I know it's only week 1.
Well, it is early in the season to start talking about who's going to be MVP, but we know what Will can do, and frankly, the whole league should be scared.
Former MVP runner-up indeed is Will Six. And moving on, we saw Clarity United, your team, Jet, defeat the Kings 2-1. Both of these franchises have an amazing history to both of them, both former league champions. And your new guy, Throttle Dog, the number 3 pick of the prior draft, really showed out here.
He did. This team played really well together against our division rivals, the Kings. Big rivals. Huge matchup for week 1 to see what we got in our own division. And as much as I'd like to say it was a dominating victory for Clarity United, Game 2 didn't exactly go our way.
Yeah, I wanted to point that out. After a very nail-biting game in Game 1, we go into Game 2, and you guys get shut out. What was your mindset after that point, and were you a little worried? Obviously, you rebounded to respond with a shutout of your own, so obviously you must have done something right in the locker room.
Obviously, we knew that we're the better team in that situation, and we knew we could beat them, and we proved it in Game 1 that we could beat them. And Game 2, we just had to put it behind us and go back out and play our game because we know these Kings.
Throttle Dog scoring the first hat trick of the season and also becoming the Week 1 Player of the Week for the Savage Division based on this performance here in this 3-game series against the Kings. Moving on, we saw the Bleacher Boys take on the Speed Demons, and this was one of the first eye-opening matches, in my opinion, of the week here, Jet.
Yeah, this was a fun matchup to watch. Both these teams were really evenly matched, it seemed, and the Bleacher Boys just pulled it out in the end with a big win in Game 3. They pulled away and won it 5-2.
Yeah, and Massimune scoring a total of 4 goals on the night was huge, and you also saw the very supporting role of Captain Alec Big with the 4 assists, the 5 saves. He's the only person to have scored a playmaker this season so far, on top of that savior as well, so a lot of good chemistry there by all 3 Bleacher Boy members. But the most interesting thing about this series, I think, was the 2-1 scores in both first games.
Yeah, both the first games and both opposite results. That just goes to show that these two teams are going to grind it out with each other all season. Two really good contenders in the Savage division, and this is going to be a fun series to keep watching.
What did you think of our King Do-Work's performance, his first matchup as the new captain of the Speed Demons?
It looked like he's clearly put a good team together that they have good chemistry, and they can compete with the best of them, obviously, with the Bleacher Boys being so good. And their rotations were good. They like I said, just Game 3 got away from them there, and that's going to happen from time to time.
With the Speed Demons, this is only their second season in existence in the QRLS, but already, Jet, I believe we see a huge division rivalry for the ages between these two franchises. Obviously, both of them playing in the first round of the playoffs last season and taking it all the way to Game 5 of that series, the last game of the series, in what was one of the better matches we've ever seen in postseason play.
Yeah, this is going to be a rivalry to watch for a while. It's going to be a fun one. They play each other one more time this season I'm not sure which week that is. It's towards the end of the season.
No doubt about it, and that will be one to watch indeed, especially if history repeats itself in the Savage division, where we saw 3 teams all tied at the same record going into Week 10 last season. Moving on, ladies and gentlemen, we forgot one more matchup here. We have the Hammerheads that took on the Headhunters, and ladies and gentlemen, this was probably the biggest upset of the week, Jet.
This was the match to watch this week. At the captain of the Hammerheads, the new captain of the Hammerheads, Billy Bob, along with the all-time saves leader, Bearded 4L. Big things were expected out of this team when they got Robbie Riddlehoove to join them. And I think the biggest part of this matchup was Headhunters coming in with the sub. Avoidable Clown subs in for X-Knight, and they come out with a victory.
Yeah, debatably Headhunters' best player off the table mere hours before the matchup started, and as you saw, they entered Game 1 just firing on all cylinders, winning 4-1. And, the Captain Toaster and Squiddy D really just look at the stat sheet there, Jet, on the left of your screen. They just filled that thing up to the brim. And Avoidable Clown also considerably contributing.
Yeah, Avoidable Clown definitely complemented that duo quite well in this matchup. They definitely got the right sub for themselves in the situation they were in. But this is going to be something to watch going forward in the season, is the combination of Squiddy D and Toaster. And once they get X-Knight back, watch out for the Headhunters.
No question about it. And you guys will see later on that we are, just after this, we are going to be talking about our updated power ranking segment. However, I want to touch a little bit here on Billy Bob. As you mentioned, inherited the Hammerheads this season as captain, went off in games 3 and 2 towards the end there to actually start scoring as we're accustomed to. However, do you think Game 1 was maybe, a little bit of rust, a little bit of unfamiliarity? What do you think the Hammerheads were really doing there in the early stages of this matchup, and do you think this is their true identity?
Well, to answer your question, first of all, I do not think this is the true identity of the Hammerheads. Game one, they were definitely trying to feel each other out. I don't know how much this team is really scrimmed together or played together. But game two, they definitely improved and got better. And then game three is the Billy Bob that we all know and love, coming out with the savior, the hat trick, 7 shots on goal. This Hammerhead team is going to be good.
And just like that, that is the perfect segue here, Jet, for our next segment, the power rankings going into week 2. And Jet, as you can see, the only undefeated team left on the board up at the top.
Yeah, no doubt about it. When you come out in week 1 in such a competitive and close league between all these teams and going against a division rival in week 1 and come out with the sweep, you're obviously going to end up at the top of the power rankings.
Now, Jet, obviously very early in the season, a lot of teams are still within a game or tied with other teams here, especially when you talk about the division records. What do you think here is the most likely team to continue their rise in the power rankings? Obviously, I know we did the stream based on myself, Will Six, and K1's individual opinions. Where do you think you can see these climbs go? Because I personally rank the Headhunters very low, and as you can see, they are skyrocketing to the top, all the way to number 2.
All the way to number 2. The Headhunters looked great. We'll see if they can stay at the top of these power rankings. Personally, my favorite is after the original power rankings you guys did, where Clarity United was 7th and 8th for a couple of them. Now here we are up in 4th with a big win in week 1.
No doubt about it. Do you think we can see the production from the 3 Rocketeers? I know we talked about it back reviewing in their match, but that was one of the more consistent teams towards the bottom in that prior stream, simply because of the very quick turnaround that their roster saw.
Yeah, I think as long as those guys keep working together and play a little bit more, they're going to come around and be just as competitive as any of these other teams. I didn't see any reason that they should be worried after week 1, especially facing such a good Gold Diggers team with Will Six and Baby Dumbs just going nuts out there.
Who among this list do you believe to be too high ranked?
That's a tough one, Little Bucket. We'll see what happens, but just looking at the week 1 results, I would have put the Hammerheads probably below the Speed Demons and probably the Kings too.
Very interesting indeed, and I'm sure a lot of people would agree with you here in the chat. I want to see everybody in the chat go ahead and give us their take on the power rankings here. Obviously, a lot going on in week 1 and still a lot to come. Jet, do you think this undefeated streak of the Gold Diggers is going to continue? Obviously, we've seen a very long undefeated streak start the season before in the QRLS. What do you expect here out of the Gold Diggers?
Well, yeah, anything could happen. We're going to find out big time how these rankings work out for you, because next week the Gold Diggers will take on the Headhunters. And I believe if the Headhunters have X-Night, they could be a problem for the Gold Diggers.
Yeah, and honestly, I think everybody is sort of chomping at the bit here to see this Headhunters team with X-Night on the field, because honestly, you never know what's going to happen, and just on paper, you could only expect that might be the team to beat 100%, but it's also hard to argue when you had the performance that Will Six put out, and his other 2 teammates as well. I mean, they executed the sweep to perfection there.
Absolutely. This Gold Diggers team is going to be one to watch. And, you might have to go through the Gold Diggers if you want to win this championship. I'm going to say that right now.
Do you think they're the early championship favorites before we move on to our player spotlight of the week?
I do believe that they are the team to beat, and they could definitely make a playoff run, if not a championship run.
No question about it. Ladies and gentlemen, moving on from the Week 2 Power Rankings, we have a special treat here for everybody tonight. We have the Week 1 Player Spotlight. This is a segment we will be doing all season long. As you all noticed, we did kind of cut out captain interviews post-match in order to spotlight more than just the captains on a more exclusive basis to make this a little bit more prestigious for all of you who perform on a week-to-week basis. With that being said, joining us tonight for our player spotlight will be none other than Throttle Dog, the player and eventual player of the week for the Savage Division here in Week 1. Throttle, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me here. I'm really enjoying this.
Yeah, no question about it. So we're going to go ahead and start firing off some questions at you. How did you feel about winning your first ever Player of the Week and in such a big win against the division rival in the Kings?
It felt good to finally get a Player of the Week after for what I felt was a pretty underperforming season last year for me, and I couldn't do it without the supporting team that I have around me. I think we played really well, and I think we can only go up from there.
Absolutely, that's what I love to hear. Throttle Dog, with Week 1 in the books, what are some of your goals here going forward in Season 4 with your new team, Clarity United?
I want to put on a strong season. I think, any team can really go out there and take any series this year. So we just really got to play our hardest every week. I think we could be a playoff team if we really want to, and I think that should be a good team goal for us. For personal goals, I'm really looking for most improved player this year. That's really what I'm aiming for.
Wow, that I honestly love that. That warms my heart. That's an award I really strived for and eventually got. So I very much understand the hype for that one. You took charge obviously very early in that matchup. You were the first player in the league this season to score a hat trick. How would you consider yourself the number one option scoring wise on Clarity United right now?
I don't think we really have a true number one. I think I just happen to be in the right spots at the right time. I think me and Heartless are pretty interchangeable on the offensive end. I think he can set me up pretty well anytime he wants, and I can do the same. So I think it just happened to be that I had a better week.
That's a great answer and a tribute to what this team is really about. I just want to get your thoughts on how you feel about Clarity United. Everybody knows that this season we have a 3,500 MMR cap for the teams. Clarity United hit that cap number on the dot. Do you think that this gives us an advantage in this season, or that it paints a target on our back of some sorts?
I really do think it does paint a target just because we do have technically on numbers the best team. But like I said, I really think any team can go out there and just take any series. So it's really merely more just a number than anything, I believe.
Well said indeed. This is my last question, and I believe Jet also has one more following up after this. Next week, you guys see Outer Division play against the three Rocketeers, and what do you think your advantages are as a team going into that match?
I think we're going to be pretty quick on the offensive end. I know they have a great defender in Slurpee, but I really just got to work the ball by him, I believe, and just do work from that and just have a solid defensive rotation. We can't be playing too much defense. It seems to be whatever team plays the most defense in the game really doesn't end up doing too well.
That's a very good observation. When you look back at a lot of these games, actually. My last question is just kind of a fun one. Which team, if any, in the Savage Division worries you the most going into the rest of the season after watching Week 1?
Uh, I mean, I think it's pretty early to tell. I know the Bleacher boys were looking really good out there, but I think we have a pretty tough division. So I'm not sure. I haven't set my eyes on any team. I'm really just focused to go play my best out there every week and just try to take the series home for our team.
Love it. Great answer.
Throttle Dog, thank you so much for joining us here. This has been a blast. Congratulations on your first ever Player of the Week award. Hopefully we see many more to come, and good luck next week against the 3 Rocketeers.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure to be on here.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have one more segment to go ahead and touch on tonight before we finish this show up, and that is next week's matchups. Jet, all but one match has been confirmed for next week already, which is super exciting. Wednesday night, we see the Kings taking on the Speed Demons, both teams sitting at 1-2, both teams desperately in need for a winning week. Who do you think has the advantage here? Because I put these guys right back-to-back on each other in the power rankings.
Yeah, this is going to be a great matchup. Both teams sitting at 1-2. Both teams in the Savage Division. This is 2 divisional matchups in a row for the Kings and the Speed Demons. This is going to be the one to watch, in my opinion. Game of the week for sure. It's going to be a battle out there. Both teams need to win.
No question about it. Do you think who would you give the advantage to?
Just judging on the week 1 results, I would have to give the advantage to the Speed Demons. They just looked a little bit better in that matchup against the Bleacher Boys, who seems like a really tough team. And it just felt like the Kings kind of came out flat in week 1, so we'll see if they can bounce back.
Very well said. And moving on, Thursday night at 8:30 Eastern Time, we see your squad, Clarity United, taking on the 3 Rocketeers. Tell us what you think about this matchup. And obviously, we heard Throttle Dog touch on it a little bit as well. Do you guys think you can carry out this momentum?
I'm excited for this matchup against the 3 Rocketeers on Thursday. I'm definitely going to get a practice session or 2 in with the boys before that. And we're going to be ready for the 3 Rocketeers. I know they got swept in week 1, but we are not going to sleep on them for sure, because that team has a lot of potential to do great things this season.
Very humble indeed, and that is a very exciting matchup also. I think a lot of people are looking forward to Slurpee and Heartless and that sort of one-on-one clash up in the air as we see. Friday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, we see the ever-so-hot Headhunters taking on the ever-so-hotter Gold Diggers, the undefeated team, the only one left standing, taking on what seems to be the Cinderella story so far early on in the Headhunters. And if they have X-Night here, Jet, this could be a back-and-forth scoring affair.
I'm assuming they're going to have X-Night back for this one. And, yeah, this is going to be a slobber knocker, if you will, because these 2 teams are going to be shooting on each other, and there's going to be goals being scored on both ends. I'm really excited for this match.
Now, one of the most interesting things that was pointed out during the Gold Diggers matchup last week was the fact that every game, all 3 games, they scored right at or around the 2-minute mark left in the game.
Well, that's interesting. I actually didn't know that stat. But that just goes to show you that the Gold Diggers are going to put pressure on, and they're going to keep pressure on throughout the game. It doesn't matter how much time's on the clock.
Do the Gold Diggers remain undefeated after this week's matchup on Friday?
No, they do not.
You heard it here,
Absolutely
folks.
not.
You heard it here, courtesy of the Jet, and this is exactly why we wanted to run this show. Ladies and gentlemen, the only match that has not been confirmed is one that I honestly am most excited for, the finals rematch. The Hammerheads take it on the Bleacher Boys. Matchup time and schedule to be determined still. And Jet, as I mentioned, a lot of implications here. 2 very different rosters than we saw in the finals, but nonetheless, some grudge indeed.
Yeah, definitely some grudge. To me, this is the fun matchup of the week. I'm really excited to see these 2 teams go head-to-head. Like you said, it's a finals rematch from last season, but 2 very different teams. And and it's going to be a good one. These two teams each have a lot of talent, and I think it's going to be a close matchup.
Obviously, the Hammerheads sitting at 1-2, and the Bleacher Boys sitting at 2-1. Do you think this could be sort of a coin flip, or do you think one team has the solid advantage over the other?
This one could be a coin flip. It could depend on how Pinky comes out. It could depend on if Robbie's internet is good. It could depend on if Bearded Forel is making his saves or whiffing the ball. You never know what's going to be the difference in a matchup like this, and that's what makes it so fun for me.
Ladies and gentlemen, I cannot stress enough how thankful we are for this show, for this stream, and for this league. This has been a lot of fun. Obviously, this stream was not going to be crazy long, and we are just going to do this every single weekend, give a quick review of all the matches and all the stats that we saw going into each week, and we are going to keep updating them power rankings for you and continue to put out as much content as we can. This video will also be going up on the YouTube channel if you would so please go find the channel, follow it, subscribe, like, comment, do whatever you have to do on all of the videos. We will be putting all of the Season 4 videos on the YouTube and much more. Jet, I can't thank you enough for joining me tonight. This has been a lot of fun. And honestly, these matchups, as you mentioned, there hasn't really been a clear-cut leader here in the standings, with the exception of the Gold Diggers, who haven't lost yet. But as you mentioned, you don't think that's going to last for long.
No, it's going to be a great season. I'm excited for everything going forward. Everybody watch week 2. It's going to be exciting. All these games are going to be great. Yeah, make sure to follow us on Facebook and like the YouTube videos.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been your Week 1 week-end review, brought to you by myself, Quicksilver59, a.k.a. Little Bucket59, a.k.a. The Commissioner, and none other than the captain of Clarity United, the Jet. And without further ado, go ahead, follow that YouTube, follow that Facebook page, go ahead and join the Discord server and fill out a player form or captain form if you're interested in owning one of the new expansion teams coming in Season 5. And without a doubt, ladies and gentlemen, keep it quick.